Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the EveryStep advanced tutorial. In this guide, we're going to go in depth into some more advanced settings and configurations within the EveryStep scripting tool for creating complex scripts. Now, first off, if you haven't watched the EveryStep Quick Start Guide, I would recommend starting there first. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into things because there's a lot that we have to cover here in this video. So we're going to get started right where we left off in the last video with this .com script. So one thing that we may want to do here is add in some filters to the script itself. If we're having any issues with specific elements popping up, we can add in filters around that. One way to add in such filters is just to right-click anywhere within the script window here and add in a network filter. Now we can do this in an advanced configuration if we want, where we can either allow or deny the filter. If we hit clear, that's going to clear any filters that we already have in place. So what I want to do is I just want to allow. And let's say that there's a specific URL that's giving us a problem. We can just put that right in there and say, you know what, if anything comes from this URL or this specific element, I don't want to be notified of it. I don't want to be woken up in the middle of the night because a simple image file will not load. We can just put it in right there, click OK, and you can see that that populates in here with the network filter allow. Now, another way that we can do a network filter is a little bit more advanced way to do it, but it's another way that we can do it is actually do a network response modifier. A good reason that we would want to do this is, for example, if we have a page that has a lot of dynamic elements that are showing up that we don't have access to, that are forbidden, so we're getting a 501 error, for example. What we can do is add in that same thing here. With the response modifier. We can click OK, we can add in the URL and error type, and from here we can say anything that gives us an error code of 501 from this particular URL, we want to say that it's okay and we don't want to get an error on that type of problem. Okay. Now let's say, another scenario that we might run into here is where we want to add in some delays. So for instance, if there's your page has a big chunk of text on the page here, the front page, and it takes users 5-10 seconds to read that file, you may want to mimic their actual customer experience. So we can go in and just kind of say, hey, right here where it says load view, we want to right click and add in a delay, because it usually takes the users about 10 seconds to read this page. A default value there is 10 seconds. We can just click OK, and that's going to add that filter in right here. You can see it 10 seconds to that piece of the script itself. Delays can be used for a couple different reasons. Like I said, if there's a chunk of text that the user needs to read, another reason would be if there's a large image that maybe takes a while for it to load. What we can do is add in a delay to make sure that it fully renders before we move on to the next step. Another thing that we may run into here, let's say for example that I have a 4-step script, much like the one I have here. And I really don't care how long it takes for the script itself to run, but there is one specific step here. Let's say step 3, where we log in, to me is a very essential step, and it needs to finish within 10 seconds or I'm considering the site down and I want to be alerted of it. How would we facilitate that? What we would do is add in what is called a script time watcher. So we can just go right here where it says step 3, and we can right click and click on where it says add script time watcher. Now once we click on this, it's really, really simple to tell it, hey, we want to get an alert. And the threshold for this particular script time is 10 seconds. And then we can hit OK. Now, once we add in the script time watcher, it's very important that we stop the script time watcher as well. Otherwise, it's going to start here and it's go all the way to the end of the script. And it's going to say that whole, step 3 to step 4 needs to be done in 10 seconds. But we want to stop it before that. So we can go to this last line here before step 4, right click, and we're just going to close the watcher. Okay, and just like that, what it's saying right now is we've created the full start and stop of the script time watcher. Now, another thing that we can do that's very similar to the script time watcher is a network watcher. Now, what the network watcher is going to do is it's going to make sure that the URL mask, this works really well for specific elements. If we have a large JPEG image that we want to load and we want to make sure that it doesn't take too long for that to load, this is where we could add in that URL mask for the watcher here. So with a lot of those advanced setups that we have here, one thing to take in mind is really if we can get the script to run successfully, there's not a lot of reason to add in a lot of these things, especially when we talk about doing, the network response modifier. We want to make sure that we only do that if it's 100% necessary. That being said, the next thing that I want to do to this particular script here is add in some variables into the script itself. My overall goal here, my end game for this script, is to use it for a load test. And in that load test, what I want to do is I want to test a bunch of different users to make sure that every person, every different type of user can log in and utilize the site. So in order to do that, I do need to add in some context variables. These context variables will be two-parted. First one will be the username and then the password, because those are the two things that I want to have variable in the script itself. So I just come over here and I would find the username, which is right here, and click where it says type text. And once I click on that, you can see the drop down here for my username. I just click on that and click convert to context parameter. It's going to give us a default name of context_0. I kind of come from the old naming convention world here, so I like to give it something that goes hand in hand with what I'm doing, so I'll call it username, and we're just going to make that a string value. Next thing that we want to do is find the password itself. Click on that. Click here and convert this to a context parameter. Same process. Once again, like I said, I want to give it a good naming convention. And this one we're going to keep hidden, so it's going to be a hidden value as well. That way, anytime that it shows up here in the code, we don't see what that password is. We just know that it's a context and it's all hidden. From here, what we're going to need to do is play back the script to make sure it runs without any errors. And while that's going on, I'll show you the next thing that we need to do for the username and password context variables, which is creating a spreadsheet. So within this spreadsheet itself, very, very simple. We're only going to need two columns, and in one column we're going to put our first context, and the second one we'll put our second context. Once again, on the top row here, we want to name this our specific name that we named it in the EveryStep scripting tool. So for this one, it's going to be username_0 and password_1. From here, we want to put all the lists of the various usernames and their corresponding passwords here. From there, we can attach it to our script, which is really going to make it much, much easier for us to conduct a test that has multiple users logging in. Okay, and it looks like that played back here in the EveryStep scripting tool without any errors, which is fantastic. So we want to go ahead and upload this script to the Dotcom-Monitor site. I'm sure you guys have all done this several times here. We just click upload and then we type in our credentials. Now, everyone's script, everyone's website is different, so you may be watching this and go, I had some really specific questions and this doesn't apply. Well, that's okay. Definitely make sure you reach out to our support department or reference our wiki for any of those, specific questions that you have. So now I'm going to upload this to my Dotcom-Monitor account. Like I said, I did want this specific scenario for a load view test. So I'm going to click on load view and click save. And this will pull up my load view script. Okay, and as you can see, those context parameters that we talked about are right here. They're good to go. So we can click continue. And then, as always, we want to go ahead and give things specific names. We can add in a script timeout. If the entire script itself should finish in, 60 seconds, then we'll go ahead and put that in there. Okay, and then we can update that information, and right here in this load testing screen, this is where we'll be able to upload our dynamic variable CSV file, the one that we had just previously created. So if we click on that here, and we can find our little document that has it, there we go, bada bing, bada boom. Now make sure that the rows count in CSV equal the same max count by the user's plan, which would be right down here. And alright folks, that concludes our EveryStep advanced tutorial. If you do have any additional questions, definitely make sure you reach out to your account manager or our support department who can help point you in the correct direction. And be on the lookout. I know there's some RIA features that you probably saw in the EveryStep scripting tool. Don't worry, I will be releasing another video that's going to go more in depth on just RIA. So keep a lookout on that. And as always, have a fantastic day.